music written specifically for such an ensemble to perform. A body of singers performed together as a group is called a chorus, or choir. The former term is very often applied to groups affiliated with the church, but this distinction is far from rigid. The term choir has a secondary definition of a subset of an ensemble. Thus, one speaks of the woodwind choir of an orchestra or different choirs of voices and/or instruments in a polychoral composition. Choral music has been around since the 2nd century AD from the ancient Greeks. During the Middle Ages, a new type of singing involving multiple melodic parts called organum became predominant of certain functions, but initially this polyphony was only sung by soloists. However, the most notable movement would have to be the Second Vatican Council, which inherently called for the active participation of the congregation. As quoted in the manuscript, liturgical worship is given a more noble form when it is celebrated in song, with the ministers of each degree fulfilling their ministry and the people participating in it. Indeed, through this form, prayer is expressed in a more attractive way, the mystery of the liturgy with its hierarchical community in nature is more openly shown, and the unity of the hearts is more profoundly achieved by the union of voices. Minds are more easily raised to heavenly things by the beauty of the sacred rites, and the whole celebration more clearly prefigures the heavenly liturgy which is enacted in the holy city of Jerusalem. Pastors of souls will therefore do all they can to achieve this form of celebration.
Well, I mean, they usually say that like singing a prayer is like, you know, praying twice as much. So that's one thing. Also, it's an opportunity to get involved in the church and, you know, with talents that I guess that are given to you, or maybe, you know, you get a chance to express that. I know that's what I'm trying to tell you. And it's good music too. I mean, especially here, you got different styles of music that we get a chance to sing, and from different cultures too.
Part of full conscious and active participation. But of course the consequence of this was to encourage participation, singing, listening, eating and drinking together, essentially, you know, and participating in all the ritual movement, you know. And so basically the norm as far as the Mass is concerned, is for participation of the entire assembly, like in the principal parts of the Mass. And so, of course, the consequences for this, as far as choral music is concerned, is that, you know, we had all these settings of the Mass, these choral settings, very beautiful sort of powerful settings of the Mass, and there's Masses by Mozart and Haydn and all these people like that. And so these things that were sort of had been sung by the choir, now, so the people, so now the people are sort of singing, you know. So it meant for a sort of dramatic kind of shift in repertoire. But then for some parishes, you know, hardly ever had music at all. You know, maybe Christmas and Easter or something, you know, maybe they'd scrape together a choir or something.
I've sung in other church choirs before, and the music here is just really vibrant, and the way the congregation really responds to us. I think that's probably the biggest thing for me is we do such a wide variety of music. one year for one of our concerts, we do 2 concerts a year. I counted, we sang in 9 different languages. So I've never done that. I've done English, Spanish, I've done Latin, but we were singing in all kinds of different languages, including Zulu, and another African language, which was really phenomenal. I don't know if I'd have that experience anywhere else, but here in this church. But it just adds so much to the worship, and as I said, when congregation responds, it really, sometimes you're in churches and people don't participate as much, or at least we can't hear them if they're singing, but it's really a communication between the choir and the congregation, and that's really a testament to the effectiveness of the music program.
As far as the development of choral music from medieval times, I have a sort of feeling actually about sort of Western music, in the sense that sort of Western music is, I feel it's very, very restless. There's this funny joke that I heard sort of ages ago about sort of the Western musician and the Eastern musician sort of talking, you know. And the Western musician is playing, the Eastern musician, and Western musician says, Guru, you play, I play many notes, but you play one. And the Eastern musician says, yes, you are looking for the note. I have found it. But it's funny, medieval music, well, first of all, from, going from, for instance, from a single line, like Eastern liturgical music, like the Greeks, up until, I don't know sort of how recently, sort of like, a lot of that music actually you'd hear a single line over a drone. In Western music, sort of very, very soon, you'd hear 2 voices that would sort of go on in sort of parallel. And then, when, particularly sort of negotiating the little sort of problem of how do you deal with the tritone, the diminished fifth, augmented fourth, that interval. Attending a concert of Northern Indian music, a sitarist was playing, and everybody, the people in the know, sort of familiar with the music, were keeping the rhythmic pattern, the tal, as it's called. And there's one bit when the improvisation just got so amazing, that you're sort of hanging on to this beat for dear life, sort of like how you get through. But then there was a kind of a sort of bum, and then they got, came back to the beginning of the pattern, and you could feel everybody go, ha ha ha, and I thought, that was like an experience of tension and release, sort of not accomplished through sort of dealing with horizontal dissonances. I mean, vertical dissonances. That's what I mean, vertical dissonances. But anyway, so choral music is very sort of sensitive to that. And then, of course, you get into sort of late romantic, into the 20th century. With sort of like a wider use of dissonance.